With spring, or shall I rather say summer, due to the hot, dry weather being here, more of the little people, which are bugs and insects, on the farm have been emerging, and with this, spiders. With living on a farm, you realize just how fast a spider can spin its web. For example, one moment you're walking down a path and it's all clear. A few minutes later, you walk that same path and you're walking through spider webs. So, on the way to the laundry room one evening, where you have to walk out of the kitchen door to the laundry area room, with the light shining on the outside porch, my eye just caught onto a spider that had weaved a web from one corner of the room to the other in such a way that I could not pass through the porch without walking into the web. My first instinct, interestingly enough, was to duck underneath the spider web and to then walk underneath it, because I couldn't see where the spider was, nor the beginning or end of the web, as it was dark and the light only provided so much to be able to see. Then I stopped for a moment, realizing, wait a minute, I'm only thinking of myself here, only thinking of me avoiding this web. What if someone else comes walking here, doesn't see the web, and gets tangled in the web along with the spider, with having no idea what spider it is, and what consequence it could create for them. Because it was literally that my eye just caught a glint of the web. If out of the corner of my eye I didn't see the web, I would have walked into it. But the point I'd like to emphasize here is what happens when you only think about yourself in a moment and do not consider others. Because it was only me there, in that moment, passing through the door. In that moment, with there being no one else, it's like the mind tunnel visions one to only take that moment in reality into consideration, as though it is only self-existing in that moment. Yes, from a physical perspective that is so, but expanding space and time, there will be others in the evening or the next morning walking that same path. So it shows how the mind can be geared to self-interest, with not expanding one's view or consideration in moments beyond that physical moment in space and time, and beyond only self. How this can create possible consequences for others. So I traced the web's beginning and end. Fortunately, saw that it was the spider that simply moved from one corner to the next, and it had spun its web with bugs already caught into it in a different area. However, if I would have walked into it, it would have disturbed the spider's web. So I disconnected the link from one corner to the other, ensuring it doesn't disturb the spider's web. So, there was actually more beings involved in that moment that I would have missed if I just thought about myself and ducked underneath the web. So it's to have a look at how such a point even relates to so many things we think or do in our relationship to others. How often we only think about ourselves, how we feel, where we tunnel vision our minds in relationship to interactions or conversations with others. And think and do and say things that are so close-minded and self-interest based that we do not consider others' perspectives or insights or starting points, and look at the bigger picture of how our thoughts, words, and deeds affect and influence others. And we cannot see this because we don't take others or our relationship to them into full consideration. We don't realize how our thoughts, words, and deeds in moments without awareness can affect and influence another's mind or life. So the point to look out for here, to consider here, is where or with who or when do we tunnel vision our thoughts, words, and deeds, and don't look beyond ourselves or a moment, and in that create consequence for others that could have been avoided. We'll continue in the next post with more examples. Thank you.